Commander James Reese stood at the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, his weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as Earth hummed like a blue jewel in the vast darkness. The message that changed everything had arrived just hours ago. Massive objects moving at impossible speeds were approaching the solar system. "They're decelerating," Lieutenant Zhao reported, her voice steady despite the tension. Trajectory calculations confirmed they're heading directly for Earth orbit. The objects, 7 massive crystalline ships that seemed to bend light around them, took position around Earth's orbit in perfect geometric formation. Before any attempt at communication could be made, they'd broadcast their message simultaneously to every electronic device on Earth. "Your species has been deemed a threat to galactic stability. Submit to immediate technological regression or face extinction. You have 24 hours to comply." The Nexus, as they called themselves, had been watching humanity's rapid technological advancement with growing concern. Their civilization, spanning thousands of star systems, operated on strict principles of controlled evolution. Earth's unprecedented rate of progress violated their fundamental laws. Reese initiated Emergency Protocol Omega, activating humanity's secret weapon, a global network of quantum computers and advanced defense systems that had been developed in preparation for exactly this scenario. Dr. Haruki Tanaka, the brilliant physicist who had foreseen this possibility, emerged from her underground laboratory in the Himalayas with revolutionary shield technology. "The Nexus underestimate us," Tanaka explained during the emergency United Earth Council meeting. "Their technology is based on crystal quantum computing. We've been developing organic quantum systems that operate on completely different principles. They won't expect this." As the deadline approached, humanity's response took shape. Instead of submission, they launched Operation Firewall, a synchronized activation of planetary shields and countermeasures that caught the Nexus completely off guard. The alien ship's initial attack bounced harmlessly off the shield network, their crystal-based weapons unable to penetrate the organic quantum field. The Nexus commander, visible through holographic projection, showed the first signs of uncertainty. Their society, for all its advancement, had never encountered a species that could resist their technological superiority. But humanity had done more than resist. They had innovated in ways the Nexus had never considered possible. "Your species continues to surprise us," the Nexus commander transmitted. "Perhaps we have miscalculated." But victory celebrations were premature. The Nexus ships suddenly shifted formation, their crystalline structures reconfiguring into weapons never before seen by human eyes. The real battle was about to begin, and Commander Reese knew this was only the beginning of humanity's greatest test. As emergency sirens blared across every major city on Earth, Reese activated the quantum communication network. "All defense stations, this is Commander Reese. Initiate Protocol Aurora. We show them what humanity is capable of when we stand united." The first wave of Nexus attacks illuminated Earth's atmosphere with otherworldly energy, testing the limits of Tanaka's shields. But humanity's response was already in motion. Thousands of small, autonomous defense units powered by organic quantum cores launched from hidden facilities across the globe. "They expected us to either submit or fight conventionally," Tanaka said, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays. "They never imagined we'd develop technology that operates outside their understanding of physical laws." As the battle for Earth's future began in earnest, one thing became clear. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't just its technology, but its ability to innovate and adapt in ways that even an advanced civilization couldn't predict. The endless struggle for survival had just entered its most crucial phase, and the fate of human civilization hung in the balance. The Nexus attack lasted 72 hours without pause. Earth's organic quantum shields held, but the strain on the global power grid was reaching critical levels. In underground command centers across the planet, military leaders and scientists worked frantically to understand and counter the crystalline weapons that pounded their defenses. Captain Isabella Ramirez led the first successful counterattack. Her squadron of quantum-enhanced fighters discovered a crucial weakness. The Nexus ship's crystalline structure became temporarily unstable when exposed to specific frequency combinations of sound and light. Their technology is perfect, Ramirez reported after the engagement. But that's their weakness. It's too perfect, too rigid. Our messy organic systems can adapt in ways they can't predict. Dr. Tanaka and her international team worked tirelessly to exploit this discovery. They developed what they called chaos pods, devices that emitted randomized patterns of quantum interference, disrupting the precise crystalline formations of Nexus technology. The United Earth Council made a bold decision. Instead of concentrating their forces, they distributed them globally, creating thousands of small independent resistance cells. Each cell operated with significant autonomy, using local resources and improvised tactics that the Nexus couldn't anticipate. Divide and adapt became humanity's rallying cry. The Nexus response was swift and brutal. They deployed millions of crystal drones, each programmed to hunt down and eliminate human resistance cells. But the drones' perfect logic proved vulnerable to human unpredictability. In Mumbai, a resistance cell led by Major Raj Patel reprogrammed weather control systems to create artificial storms that disrupted drone communications. In Lagos, Dr. Amara Okafor's team developed quantum camouflage that made human settlements appear as natural terrain to Nexus scanners. The most significant breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A group of teenagers in Buenos Aires discovered that playing certain musical frequencies through modified speakers could cause the crystal drones to resonate sympathetically, disrupting their control systems. "It's like a virus," explained 16-year-old Sofia Mendoza, who helped develop the sonic weapon. "We call it the Symphony of Chaos." The Nexus, for the first time in their 1,000-year history of conquest, faced an enemy that refused to follow predictable patterns of resistance. Their crystal ships began showing signs of stress, microscopic fractures appearing in their perfect formations. Commander Reese coordinated the global resistance from constantly moving locations, using quantum entanglement communications that the Nexus couldn't intercept. "Every human on Earth has become a soldier in this war," he declared, "not through military training, but through innovation and determination." But the Nexus had one more card to play. Their ships suddenly began to combine, merging into a single massive crystalline structure that dwarfed anything humanity had seen before. The merged entity generated a quantum field so powerful it threatened to overwhelm Earth's organic shields. Dr. Tanaka worked through sleepless nights, trying to find a solution. "They're attempting to overcome chaos with sheer power," she observed. "But they still don't understand. The more complex their structure becomes, the more vulnerable it is to disruption." As the massive Nexus construct charged its primary weapon, humanity prepared for what could be their final stand. But in labs, basements, and makeshift workshops around the world, people continued to innovate, adapt, and refuse to accept defeat. The storm was rising, and the next phase of the battle would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the future of two fundamentally different approaches to existence: perfect crystalline order versus organic adaptability and chaos. The massive Nexus construct loomed over Earth like a crystalline sun, its surface fractal patterns shifting in hypnotic waves. Dr. Tanaka's breakthrough came at the cost of her life. She discovered that the merged Nexus ships had created a quantum resonance chamber that could be destabilized, but only from within. "Their perfection is their weakness," were her last words before she piloted a quantum-shielded vessel directly into the heart of the construct, carrying an experimental device she called the Chaos Heart. The explosion that followed defied physics as humanity understood it. The crystalline structure began to fragment, but not before releasing a final devastating attack that overwhelmed Earth's shields in multiple locations. London, Beijing, and Cairo took direct hits. The global response was immediate and unprecedented. As Nexus crystal shards rained down across the planet, people began collecting them, studying them, adapting them. Professor Nikolai Volkov in Moscow discovered that the crystals could be integrated with organic quantum technology, creating hybrid systems that combined the best of both approaches. The second Nexus fleet arrived with twice the firepower of the first, but humanity was ready. The empathy resonators were deployed globally, broadcasting human experiences, emotions, and memories directly into the crystalline consciousness of the alien ships. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Some Nexus ships froze in space, their perfect formations wavering as they processed the flood of organic experiences. Others began exhibiting behavior that could only be described as confusion, their crystalline structures shifting in chaotic, almost organic patterns. Lieutenant Zhao, who had become the primary interpreter of Nexus communications, detected something unprecedented. "They're arguing among themselves," she reported. "Some are questioning their entire mission. Others are fighting to maintain their rigid worldview." The internal conflict spread through the Nexus fleet like a virus. Their perfect coordination began to break down as individual ships started responding differently to the empathy signals. Some moved to attack Earth, while others positioned themselves to protect it. A new voice emerged from the Nexus communications, different from their usual perfect, emotionless transmissions. "We understand now. Your chaos, it's not a flaw. It's evolution." The Nexus fleet split into two factions. The traditionalists, determined to maintain their perfect order, engaged in battle with the awakened, who had been transformed by their exposure to human consciousness. The solar system became a battlefield not just between species, but between philosophies of existence. Commander Reese seized the opportunity. Earth's hybrid crystal organic ships, led by Captain Ramirez, joined forces with the awakened Nexus vessels. The combined fleet employed tactics that were neither purely human nor purely Nexus, a perfect fusion of chaos and order. They never imagined their perfect society could evolve, Professor Volkov observed as he monitored the hybrid technology's performance. But that's exactly what's happening. Evolution through imperfection. The battle raged across the solar system, but the outcome was becoming clear. The rigid tactics of the traditionalists couldn't match the adaptability of the human awakened alliance. One by one, their ships either retreated or joined the awakened. The turning tide brought more than victory. It brought transformation. The awakened Nexus began sharing their vast knowledge with humanity, but now with an understanding of organic adaptation and growth. Together, they started developing technologies that neither civilization could have created alone. But amid the celebration, Commander Reese remained cautious. The retreating traditionalists would undoubtedly report to the larger Nexus civilization. Earth had won this battle, but a greater conflict loomed, one that would determine the future of both organic and crystalline life in the galaxy. The turning tide had brought victory, but also responsibility. Humanity and their new allies would need to prepare for the coming storm, and this time, they would face it together. The final confrontation began not with weapons, but with a message. The main Nexus civilization, spanning thousands of star systems, demanded Earth's immediate surrender and the correction of their corrupted fleet elements. Commander Reese and the awakened Nexus leadership responded by broadcasting the combined experiences of both civilizations throughout the galaxy. The empathy resonators, now vastly improved through hybrid technology, carried the story of humanity's struggle and the awakened's transformation to every crystalline ship and structure in Nexus space. "Let them judge us not by their fears, but by our shared potential," Reese declared as the signal went out. The response surpassed all expectations. Across Nexus space, ships and entire colonies began experiencing the same awakening that had transformed the First Fleet. The rigid hierarchy of their civilization started to dissolve as more Nexus beings embraced the possibility of evolution through imperfection. The traditionalist leadership, in a final desperate move, attempted to activate a failsafe, a network of quantum resonators designed to force all Nexus technology back to its original, purely crystalline state. But they had underestimated how far the hybrid technology had evolved. Professor Volkov, and Dr. Okafor had anticipated this. Their teams had developed what they called quantum antibodies, hybrid systems that could protect against forced crystalline reversion while promoting organic integration. As the fail-safe wave swept through Nexus space, it encountered not resistance, but transformation. The dawn of a new era arrived not with the thunder of victory or the silence of defeat, but with the quiet realization of change. The Nexus civilization, for the first time in its history, began to embrace imperfection as a path to growth. Earth became the center of a new kind of coalition. The Human Nexus Alliance established its headquarters in the rebuilt city of Cairo, symbolizing the rebirth of both civilizations. The hybrid technology they developed together began healing the scars of war, restoring damaged ecosystems, establishing instant communication across vast distances, and exploring new frontiers of science that neither species had imagined possible. Commander Reese, standing once again at the observation deck where it all began, watched ships of both human and Nexus design moving peacefully through Earth's orbit. Lieutenant Jao joined him, now an ambassador to the transformed Nexus worlds. "They needed us as much as we needed them," she observed. "Perfect order without chaos is stagnation. Chaos without order is destruction. Together, we found balance." The endless struggle had not ended, it had evolved. Humanity and their new allies now faced the challenge of building something unprecedented, a civilization that embraced both the precision of crystalline thought and the adaptability of organic life. As the hybrid ships danced through space, their patterns neither purely ordered nor chaotic, they carried with them a profound truth. The greatest victories come not from destroying your enemy, but from transforming conflict into cooperation, fear into understanding, and endings into beginnings. The dawn of unity had arrived, and with it, the promise of endless possibilities.